Hello friends and welcome. I'm sure many of you or a family member or a close friend have had this experience. Unexpectedly, out of the blue, a symptom shows up. You ignore it for a short time hoping it's an anomaly and it will magically disappear, but unfortunately it doesn't. So you head to the doctor's office and all of a sudden you're scheduled for surgery, but the surgery is several weeks away. And you know that even after the surgery, you'll have several weeks on pins and needles waiting for the final results of the pathology reports. Well, the scenario I just described recently happened to me, and I'll share the outcome with you as I get ready today. Since I haven't filmed a video in a while due to my surgery, I definitely feel a bit rusty, so I'm glad we can relax together today and have some fun trying out almost all of the products that I purchased during the Sephora semi-annual sale this past April. What better way to help the healing process along? Before I pull out the Sephora products I'll be using today, I want to say a warm welcome to those of you who have stopped by for the first time, and also extend a welcome and a thank you to those of you who are already part of this family. My name is Elise, and I'm a working professional makeup artist, and what I love doing most is sharing with you skincare and makeup tips, techniques, and product ideas that work especially well for those of us over 50. And from time to time on this channel, we also touch on some fashion and wellness. So if the mission of this channel matches your interests, I hope you'll subscribe before you leave today. Well, I've already gone ahead and filled in my brows, applied my eye primer, and completed my very quick and easy 3-step morning skincare routine with my timeless skincare products. But today, I added one additional serum, which was part of a trio of Charlotte Tilbury products that I ordered with some of my Sephora's bonus points during the recent sale. The other two products in this trio were a very small jar of her Magic Cream, which I've always wanted to try, and a mini version of her Pillow Talk 2 lipstick. Here's the serum packet, and here is the Magic Cream and lipstick. And I'll be using both of these products later. And by the way, you'll find links to all of the products that I'll be talking about in today's video in the description box below, which you can find by clicking on the word more. The Charlotte Tilbury serum I applied earlier was her Magic Serum, which comes in that very small packet I showed you. And afterwards, I used the first of the products that I purchased during the Sephora sale, which was a moisturizer from the Hollywood skincare specialist Shani Darden. I alternate using her lactic acid serum and her retinol reform serum every night. I recently tried her weightless oil-free moisturizer. The retinol reform and moisturizer are vegan and cruelty-free, and the lactic acid is vegan and gluten-free. I like the lightweight moisturizer feel so much that I ordered a full-size bottle during the Sephora sale. But since my skin has been pretty neglected the past few weeks due to my surgery, I'm going to go ahead and add a bit more moisturizer with the second product from the Charlotte Tilbury trio. It's her Magic Cream. So I'm just taking a little on a Q-tip and applying it strategically. There is a fragrance to this. It's pleasant, but if you're not someone who appreciates fragrance, this may not be something you want to use. I'm trying to figure out what the fragrance is, and I'm thinking rose, but I may be totally wrong on that. It feels wonderful. Applies beautifully. The Magic Cream is described as a visibly age-defying moisturizer with hyaluronic acid, which plumps the look of the skin and diminishes the look of wrinkles. It's also vegan and cruelty-free, and the description says that it leaves the complexion visibly glowing and prepped for flawless makeup. I'm trying to tell if there's some glow, and I do think there is. Of course, I'll have to use this product for a while to see how it works on a long-term basis. Now let's get to one of the stars of today's makeup routine. It's an eyeshadow palette that I have wanted for months. It's the Natasha Denona mini size 15 pan retro glam palette. It's cruelty-free, paraben-free, and made in Italy, and comes in that stunning Art Deco styled packaging that I just showed you. And the dusty pinks and greens on the front of the palette packaging mimic some of the beautiful colors inside. One of the major determining factors for most of us in deciding whether we're going to purchase an eyeshadow palette is the color story. We all differ a whole lot in what appeals to us, and I tend to gravitate toward palettes where I can create a variety of different looks rather than just monochromatic looks. So for instance, I love some Natasha Denona palettes that many other people tend to shy away from, including her Zendo palette, her Tropic palette, which unfortunately is no longer available, but what gorgeous colors for summer, and her Metropolis palette. And one of these days, during a sale, I may also invest in the Circo Loco palette. This retro glam palette offers the opportunity to create a dusty pink look with the shades Belle, Holly, and Flare, a neutral look with any combination of Lucy, Faye, Maxie, and Jazzy, or a variety of green looks going from light to dark with Palladian, Fringe, Sage, Marlin, and Oz. I'm excited to try this palette, but there are so many directions to go with it that I frankly am a bit torn, but I think I'm going to be slightly daring today and go with pinks and greens and create a halo look, which I don't think I've ever done before in any of my videos. I'm going to start off with this shade called Belle in my crease, and then I'll have a gradient going up toward my eyebrow by using the lighter shade in the middle of the palette. I'm using my Sigma E25 brush. And of course, Natasha Denona shadows blend just effortlessly. And I love the fact that these are dusty pinks rather than a bubblegum pink. I think that really gives a more sophisticated look. And now I'm taking the lighter shade called Holly, and I'm just going above the crease area toward my eyebrow just to have a nice soft gradient going upward. I'm going to put a little bit of this on the inner corner. Then I'm going to take this beautiful color called Sage and put it on the inner part of my lid and the outer part for a halo effect. And you need so very little because these colors are just so beautifully pigmented. Oh, I love this green. And I'm going to bring that up into the crease as well. It's such a soft look, so even though you have colors like greens and deeper pinks, it comes across not real harsh at all, but very soft. So it's a great palette for spring and summer especially, I think. And to make this a halo eye, I'm going to put some on the inner corner of my eye and then carry just a little bit into the middle of the crease. So I'm realizing that it is really hard for me to talk about something other than makeup while I apply my makeup. For me, it's kind of like trying to rub my stomach and pat my head at the same time. Then I'm going to take this deeper shade called Evergreen and put that on the outer side of the lid and the outer part of the crease. So what happened to me in February was that I noticed a symptom, and of course I ignored it for quite a while, just hoping it would disappear. Some days it was there, some days it wasn't. So I kept hoping, and of course it didn't disappear. So I didn't have an OBGYN since we moved down here and tried to get an appointment, and they were months out booked. Finally, the woman who was trying to schedule was so sweet, and she said, well, I can get you in today to a midwife who could give you a pelvic exam. So I jumped at the chance, went in. She couldn't find anything, but I knew I had to find out what was causing this. So I asked her what could be done next. She said I could try an ultrasound, although sometimes those results weren't real conclusive. So naturally I decided to give that a go because I wanted to really get to the bottom of it. The ultrasound was a couple of weeks later, and I have a pain threshold that's pretty high, but oh my gosh, that was painful. And the OBGYN who read the ultrasound came in afterwards and said, well, you have a couple of masses on your ovaries. Probably they're benign. But as we all do, I got stuck on that word probably. And I said, well, what can we do next? And she said, well, there is a blood test to take. So I did that same day. It came back negative. But then her office called and said, I really should make an appointment with a gynecologic oncologist. And they recommended someone. Well, I went in thinking I don't have much to worry about because the blood test was negative, but I found out later there can be false positives fairly frequently. And after she looked at the ultrasound, and she said to me, you do really need to have surgery, whether these are benign or cancerous, they really need to be removed. And she said, what we'll do is we'll send them down to the lab during the surgery, and that will tell us whether we need to remove more than just your ovaries. So that's what happened. I waited 2 weeks before I could go in for the surgery. And as any of you know who have been through this, boy, that 2 weeks seems like several months long. But I did go in for the surgery, and they didn't find anything in the lab that looked suspicious. So fortunately, I had small incisions, and I could just go home that day after they removed the ovaries and the fallopian tubes. But if the lab results had been different, I probably would have had to have a full hysterectomy, and the recovery time for that, as most of you know, is quite a bit longer. I'm going back in with Belle since I lost a little bit of that color. And I felt so grateful that I could go home that day, didn't have a hysterectomy. But there still was a waiting period of a week to 2 weeks to find out the results of about 14 other samples that she took. Now I'm going to take my blending brush and just do some blending. You almost don't have to blend because these colors just sort of blend themselves, which is one of the things that's wonderful about Natasha Denona eyeshadow. There isn't a real light shade in this palette except for a shimmer, which I'm going to be using a little bit later. But to put on my eyelids, I want to use a light color, and I'm going to take the lightest color from the e.l.f. I Love You a Latte palette. As you can see, I've already hit pan on that particular light color. So 6 days after having the surgery, I got a call from the nurse's office, and she said everything had been negative. And just tears of joy started rolling down my cheeks. So I feel so incredibly blessed and fortunate. I know so many people don't have that kind of outcome. So I have a follow-up appointment in about 3 weeks. And so far so good on the recovery progress. I can't do cartwheels yet, but then I never could do cartwheels. So I'm pretty happy with just being able to get in and out of bed more comfortably. And it no longer hurts to laugh or cough or sneeze. It's amazing the muscles you use that you do not realize. I remember feeling that way when I had a C-section too and could barely walk without having some pain as those muscles reacted. I'm going to take this deepest color called Evergreen and use it as my eyeliner. So I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you who were so kind and so supportive and sent me messages of positive thoughts being sent my way, as well as prayers, and I'm so very grateful to each of you. And there is definitely a blessing in all of this, and that blessing is that I was really letting stress get to me with my business and would get very concerned and upset about especially technology glitches that would occur, which seem to happen all too frequently. And by not meeting some of the goals that I hope to meet in my business. And I've really taken a good hard look at that, and I am really going to incorporate, and have already incorporated, some relaxation routines into my daily habits. So I've been spending a good hour to 2 hours out on our patio every day, enjoying the beautiful song of the birds and the sound of wind and our little fountain. And it's amazing how wonderfully relaxing that is. And of course, the irony of all of this is that I used to teach relaxation techniques along with some other wellness courses. So sometimes you teach what you need to learn, and I'm certainly finding that to be true right now. I have to say how much I am loving this green color mixed with the pink. In fact, I have to share with you a piece of clothing that dates way back to the 80s that I cannot seem to part with. It's from a brand called Liz Sport, which was Liz Claiborne. Maybe some of you remember that designer from the 80s especially. And take a look at the color of this sweater that I can't part with. It is a cropped sweater, which actually was in style for a while. I don't know if it still is or not, but I just cannot put it in the donate bin. At one point, I'm going to wear that again. So the eyes are done except for mascara, which I'm going to go ahead and do, and then we'll jump into the rest of the makeup. First, want to get those lashes curled. And then I'm using my Doll 10 Effort Lash Mascara, which is a tubing mascara, which really does a good job of lengthening, especially in separating the lashes. And the other wonderful thing about tubing mascara is that it is very easy to remove. Basically, warm water will do it. Since I've been using a number of Charlotte Tilbury products, I'm going to go ahead and apply her Beautiful Skin Foundation, which is one of my all-time favorite foundations. If you have oily skin, this foundation may not be your best bet, but I do have very dry skin, and this foundation creates a lovely brightening glow, which I absolutely love. It's termed a skincare infused foundation, and it's vegan and cruelty-free. I wear the shade 3 Cool. And just dot it on first where I need the most help, which is the redness around the center of my face. And then I'm going to just press it in initially to get the best coverage, especially in the area where I need it the most. And then I'll buff it in after I press. Now there's something just about the finish of this foundation that I really love. I think you can see some of the glow that's coming through. And by the way, I often get the question, should I put foundation under my eyes? And I don't recommend that, because if you do use a concealer under your eyes, you don't want to have a whole lot of layers of makeup. That can exacerbate any problems with fine lines. Oh my goodness, I love this foundation. For the area under my eyes, I'm going to use the Becca Smashbox Under Eye Corrector Brightening Cream and the Kosas Concealer. And I'll apply just a tiny bit of Doll 10 powder to prevent the concealer from creasing. So here's the combo I'll be using. I recently got a gift card to a department store, and I immediately used it to buy 2 more of the Charlotte Tilbury foundations. I think I will now have a lifetime supply, but I definitely don't want to run out of it. I definitely am dealing with a lot more dark circles under my eyes because I did not sleep well before the surgery, as you might imagine, and it's been a little bit uncomfortable at night. So I'm going to really need to catch up on my sleep over the next few days. And I'm just going to take a little dot of this concealer and press that in. Don't want to disturb the corrector underneath, so the finger becomes the best tool for that. Now, corrector and concealer can't totally diminish the look of those dark circles and those under eye bags, but it can certainly help. And one of the things I love about this Becca product is how easily it applies because it is so very creamy. And even though it's pricey, that little jar will last a very long time. And then I'm just going to press the powder over it. I haven't been in to get a haircut recently, and boy, am I needing one badly. And I absolutely forgot to use something I bought at the Sephora Sale to apply the powder. It's the Beauty Blender Powder Pocket Puff that's teardrop shaped and dual-sided. You can put your finger into the silky inside of the puff, which has what's called a jelly center, which gives you more precise control. Or you can put your finger under the elastic band, which is on the outside of the puff. So this is the side that you use to pat in the powder. And as you can see, this is where you can put your finger. It's silky on one side, and then it's kind of this soft rubber feel on the other side. So you can stick your finger in here to get some precision control. Or there's this elastic on the outer part that you can also use. So I'm going to just press this in with the puff. So even though I've already pressed in the powder with my brush, I want to press it in a little bit more with this puff. Feels really lovely and soft. It's recommended to deposit powder with the plush pink side and then to reblend and touch up using the tan side. You know, it does seem like everything old is new again, because didn't our mothers always apply their powder with a powder puff? They just didn't have one that could provide such precise control in the application. Now on to contour. I have to admit, I went a little crazy ordering contour products. I actually ordered 3. Months ago, I'd ordered the Rare Beauty bronzer stick in Happy Soul, which was described initially as being a cool tone color, but unfortunately, it really isn't very cool toned. But I did love how easily it applied. So when Rare Beauty recently came out with more shades, and it looked like there were 2 cool tone colors, I couldn't resist, and I ordered the deepest cool tone shade, which is called Good Energy. It's a little darker than I'd hoped, but because this formula is so easy to apply and blend, I'm hoping it will blend out and be okay. This is the Rare Beauty bronzer stick, and this applicator tip makes it so easy to blend it in. I also ordered 2 shades of contour from the rather expensive clean beauty brand Westman Atelier. I ordered a mini size of their lightest shade called Biscuit and a full size of the deeper shade called Truffle. So along with the Makeup Revolution contour I purchased not too long ago from the drugstore, I now think I may have a lifetime supply of contour. I love magnetic closures, and both of these Westman Atelier products do have magnetic closures. And all of their contour sticks are vegan, cruelty-free, and gluten-free. I'm going to go ahead and swatch all 3 of these shades so we can see what each one of them looks like. The top color is Good Energy, which is the Rare Beauty contour. Underneath it are the 2 Westman Atelier. The one directly underneath the Rare Beauty is Biscuit, the lighter color, and then underneath that is Truffle, which is deeper, but it tends to be a little bit warm, which I'm finding a little bit disappointing, but we'll see how it works. You can probably also see what's left of what was a deep black and purple bruise on my hand from some IVs that were used. Since I've never tried a Westman Atelier product, I'm going to go ahead with the lightest color on one side and the deeper color on the other side, and we'll see how they look. So I picked up the shade Biscuit on my brush, and this is a nice natural tone, and I'll put a little bit under the jawline and a little bit up here. And this blends in really easily, as you can see. So this is great for a more natural contour look. Or you could layer it up and get a deeper look as well, I'm sure. And let's try Truffle on this side. This definitely has some warmth to it. Well, I definitely like the cooler tone of the Biscuit shade. And these magnetic closures are so satisfying. Just because I'm experimenting, I'm going to put a little bit of the Rare Beauty contour over the Biscuit. We'll see how much darker it is. And because this is so easy to blend, I'm just putting it directly from the applicator. Oh, I love the shade of that. And as you can see, it really blends in well. And then I'm just taking my foundation brush and going around the edges. For blush, I'm going to apply the Redimension Hydra Powder Blush from the clean beauty brand RMS. But before I do so, I'm going to apply the new Hourglass Ambient Light powder I purchased, and I'm going to put it on my forehead and cheeks, and it's in the color Moodlight, which is a beautiful lavender pink. And I'm doing this so the blush will go on more easily. This Hourglass Finishing Powder color is supposed to mimic the softest, most forgiving light and brighten the complexion. RMS is vegan, cruelty-free, and gluten-free, and Hourglass is cruelty-free and gluten-free. And here's the Hourglass Finishing Powder in Moodlight. These Hourglass powders are one product that I think are really worth the splurge. They just create such a soft, focused glow. And quite honestly, I don't think there's a dupe out there at a lower price that really does the same thing. And these powders last a very long time. And they also come in a mini size, so you can just dip your toe in with the mini size first. And this is the RMS Blush in French Rosé. Isn't that a gorgeous shade? And just going to apply it on the middle part of my cheekbone. Oh, that is so pretty. And it really does give quite a bit of pigmentation. I don't know how well it's showing up on camera because these lights wash everything out, but hopefully you can see what it's looking like. And frankly, this is about the amount of blush I really like to have. I'm not a big blush girl. I just like to have a slight flush. I'm going to bring a little bit up here. And really a softer blush brush would work better. This is one from e.l.f., which I like. I'm always hesitant to buy powder blushes because of my dry skin. I really prefer cream and liquid, but this is looking nice. Sometimes powder blushes can get a little bit blotchy on dry skin. I have two Charlotte Tilbury lip liners, which are not new, in the shades Pillow Talk and Lip Cheat. I'm going to go ahead and swatch each of the lip liners so we can see which color will work best with the mini Charlotte Tilbury lipstick I received for my Sephora points. And that lipstick is in the color Pillow Talk 2. All of these products are cruelty-free and vegan. This is a lip liner Pillow Talk. Underneath it is one called Lip Cheat, and underneath is the Pillow Talk 2 lipstick. I think the Lip Cheat works a little bit better, so I'm going to go with that. Unfortunately, my camera cut out when I was applying my gloss, but let me tell you about what I used. I'd heard great things about this lip gloss, so I ordered it during the Sephora sale. It's the Forget the Filler Lip Plumping Line Smoothing Gloss in the shade Daisy Girl from the clean beauty brand Lawless, which is also cruelty-free and vegan. Let me go ahead and swatch it for you. Here's what it looks like. And as you can see, it's a warm pink, which is really pretty. So I've already applied the lip gloss. It does have a tingly sensation. It's not uncomfortable, but it definitely is tingly. It's rather refreshing feeling, actually. And the last product I purchased is one which I'll put to good use after this video. It's Sephora's Daily Brush Cleaner Spray, which is made to be sprayed directly onto a cloth or a paper towel rather than directly onto the brush. Then the description says to gently rub the brush head in circular motions over the sprayed cloth or paper towel until the surface oil and dirt is removed from the brush. I'm going to go ahead and spray a little bit on a paper towel that I have here, and then let's see how well it works on one of my eyeshadow brushes. Just going to do a couple sprays, and then I'm going to see how well it cleans this brush. As you can see, I did a pretty nice job of pulling that powder out of the brush, and the brush does indeed look clean. I don't know how I feel about inhaling that spray smell. It is a little bit strong. I may have to do this outside when I clean my brushes. So let me take just a few moments and share with you some of my first impressions of these products that we tried today. But I do have to say that first impressions are not always accurate. I've occasionally been impressed with the product at first, but later changed my mind and vice versa. So I always think it's important to try products several different times before giving them a thumbs up or a thumbs down. First, my Shani Darden Moisturizer. I absolutely love it. It is so lightweight, but really does an excellent job of moisturizing. Although I have heard she's come out with an even heavier duty moisturizer, which I'm anxious to try as well. It's a little too early to comment on the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Serum and Moisturizer. I did like the feel of both of them, but the fragrance was kind of off-putting to me. But maybe I'll just get used to it. I did love the feel of that moisturizer especially, however. And I have to just say that the lipstick color is not one I would necessarily choose. I think all of you who watch my videos know that I'm not a huge fan of nude-leaning lipstick colors, but I'd be interested in your input on what you think of this color. But I definitely love the gloss from Lawless over it. The Natasha Denona Retro Glam eyeshadow palette is absolutely amazing. I have no regrets whatsoever. I think the color story is amazing, and I just love the combination of these light pinks and greens. And because there's some neutral shades in there as well, it's really a versatile palette. You could go with a completely neutral look, you could go with a completely pink or green look, or combine some with colors as I did today. The Rare Beauty bronzer stick really applies beautifully. I will have to give it a little bit more of a try out in future videos. I do love the color. It may be a little bit too dark, but we'll see. I also like the shape of this bronzer stick. It really makes it easy to apply. As you can see, it's a little bit easier shape to apply than this one from Westman Atelier, but I would definitely use a brush to apply this rather than applying it directly to my cheek. I really like the Westman Atelier Color Biscuit, but was a little disappointed that the truffle color was a little bit on the warmer side. In fact, I had even called an advisor at Sephora before I ordered it because some people in their comments had indicated that it was a little bit more warmer leaning, but the advisor indicated that it definitely was cool toned. So I went with it, but I'm a little discouraged by how warm toned it is. But I think if I mix it with some other bronzers, it'll probably be just fine. I absolutely love Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder, and the shade Mood Light is really gorgeous. I do not regret at all spending the money that I spend on Hourglass Ambient Light products because I think they just make a huge difference. And as I mentioned earlier, I don't think anyone has duplicated it. The Beauty Blender Powder Pocket Puff is a really innovative design. I love the fact that you can put your finger inside it or on the outside elastic band. And I'll have to keep trying that to see how I think it works compared to using a brush. And I do absolutely love the Lawless Forget the Filler Gloss in Daisy Girl. It's a beautiful pink, and it does do a little bit of plumping and tingling. And frankly, it's a perfect color that goes with a number of my lipsticks. I hope you enjoyed today's video and found it helpful, and if so, please tap that thumbs up icon to let the YouTube algorithm know. I thank you for joining me today as I tried out some new Sephora Sale products and shared some background on my recent health journey and surgery. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm so very thankful and grateful for all the wonderful, positive, caring thoughts and prayers you sent my way. And I'm definitely wishing each of you good health, which, as we know, is our greatest blessing, as well as much happiness. And I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. Take care.